The issue of having sex during your menstruation has been debatable over time. A lot of people raise concern and worries about having sex during menstruation. But during menstruation, there is nothing wrong with having sex during menstruation. Sex is something that is normal part of life that we can have at any time. Just because you are having your periods or you're having your menses does not mean that you can't have sex. Even for some women, their pleasure or the feeling to have sex increases more than ever during menses or during the time that they are having menses. The period that the time that they are having their mens or they are menstruating are the times that they even feel the pleasure, the desire to enjoy sex. Sex during that period seems to be more pleasurable than any other days or moments of the month. That's to some women. And even the need for lubrication lessens during that time. I mean, you don't have to worry. The effort you put in to be more lubricated or to be wet is lessened. During the menstruation period, it's easy for the person to, or for the woman to be well lubricated. And having an orgasm can suit period related symptoms such as cramps. So during the menstruation period, it's possible somebody can have an orgasm or it's possible somebody can experience an orgasm. And during that time, if such is experienced, it reduces the period related symptoms. I mean, some people have cramps, abdominal pains, and menstrual pains and stuff. I mean, having sex during that time has also been thought to reduce pain and cramps to some women. So we can't actually say that having sex during that period of the month is, I mean, totally wrong. No, some have their ways, or some believe in, some have some benefits of doing that. But however, in as much as you have the right to have sex during that time of the month, during menstruation, you have to take some certain factors into consideration. You should be mindful of certain things that may happen. You should be mindful of the risk to infections, that's sexually transmitted infections. You should be mindful of being pregnant during that time of the month. Yes, you can get pregnant during that time of the month whilst you are menstruating. So as you embark on the decision to have sex at any time during that point of the month or at any time in the month, you should be aware of the following two. So point number one, there is a risk of infection. Infection can still occur during that time of the month. You can contract sexually transmitted disease. You can be infected with sexually transmitted disease. You see, this disease causing organisms or the pathogens can be transmitted through the fluid, through the blood, especially the blood carrying ones, the HIV. So sexually transmitted disease like HIV during this time can be transmitted because they are in the blood. So if the person is menstruating and you want to have sex during that time, there's the risk of you getting STI, especially the HIV. Being aware of this, it means that you should be ready to protect yourself, have protective and safe sex during this time of the month. So you should be aware that there is the risk to infection, especially sexually transmitted disease. There are two reasons for this particular risk. One, any fluid that can carry HIV or STI. So if you have sex during that time, as I've stated, the blood is already carrying the virus, so you can be infected with the blood. Two, during this time of the month, the cervix opens slightly. There's a slight opening of the cervix, which might allow viruses to pass through. So the cervix is softened during the menstruation period, and during sex, virus can pass through. You can be infected with any form of disease or infection, and this infection can pass through the cervix. So women are supposed to protect themselves during this time of the month when they want to have sex. When you are healthy, your vagina maintains the pH level of 3.8 or 3.5 to the 4.5, as we've already stated. Throughout the month, when you are healthy, you have acidic vaginal environment. But during menstruation, the level rises because of the higher pH level of blood, and yeast is able to grow more rapidly. So when the pH level increases on the scale, or is trying to enter into the alkaline level, or there is a disturbance in the pH level, you see that the yeast and the disease-causing organisms will feel comfortable there. And this is caused by the blood flow. The presence of blood at the vaginal orifices increases the pH level of the vaginal area, and this will cause disease-causing organisms, especially the yeasts, to drive, to stay, to maintain their balance. They will feel okay, they will feel comfortable to grow there, and you may be prone, or you are likely to get infected. So yeast can grow very well during this time of the month at the vaginal orifices, especially candida. So it has been found that there is an overgrowth of candida at the vaginal orifice during this time of the month. So if you continue to have sex, or you intend to have sex during this time of the month, there's possibility, or there's likelihood that you will be infected, because already the growth of the candida and the growth of the yeast are high. The growth of the candida, and you see the candida it grows very well. Research has shown that hormonal changes take place at this time of the month and can cause an overgrowth of candida. It can cause an overgrowth of candida. That is the fungus responsible for the yeast infections. Some women can be more prone to having urinary tract infection after intercourse. This is most likely related to bacteria being able to easily travel from the bladder with intercourse, but may happen at any point during the menstrual cycle. So during the menstrual cycle, and we are talking about bacterial growth, we are talking about yeast growth, we are talking about microorganisms growing due to the pH disturbance of the vaginal area. Some women can be more prone to having urinary tract infection after the intercourse, because as the yeast and the bacteria are growing there is likelihood that bacteria will find its way, will travel along from the vaginal area to the urethral area and into the bladder. And if these bacteria find themselves in the ureter, or in the bladder, or through the urinary canal, that's what we call UTI. The bacteria will be in the bladder, in your urinary system, and women will suffer urinary tract infection. Number 2 that you should note when you are having sex during menstruation. When you're having sex during menstruation, you should know that you can still get pregnant. Yes, you can still get pregnant, especially women with 21 to 24 days of menstruation. Those that have 21 to 24 days as their menstrual cycle, they have shorter menstrual period. So you can get pregnant, because especially when you have sex at the end, getting to the end of your menstruation period, or get to the end of the menstrual cycle, because sperms, as we've already educated ourselves on our previous videos, some sperms can stay like 3 to 5 days. The woman or the vagina can accommodate sperms for 3 to 5 days. Some sperms can stay 3 to 5 days. So if you have sex at the end of your menstrual cycle and you have like shorter menstruation period or menstrual cycle, there's likelihood that you will get pregnant. Sperm can remain viable in your vagina for up to 5 days. So pregnancy is possible, and it is important to continue using the birth control. So at this time, it's not like I'm menstruating. So if you're on a pill, if you're on family planning method or any of the birth control methods, it's not like I have to, especially the pill, I have to stop because I'm menstruating. You can get pregnant when you have sex during this time of day, especially when you have shorter menstrual cycle. That's 21, 24 days. I'll have a video on that explaining the shorter menstrual cycles and those with the normal menstrual cycles. So be mindful that having sex during this time of the month can let you get pregnant. In fact, it is most of the time recommended for people who have tried getting pregnant for a long time to try having sex during their menstruation, because some people ovulate at very late, or the moment they finish their shorter cycle menstruation, there's likelihood that they ovulate through. Even some people even ovulate whilst menstruating. So that one is a different condition altogether. But you have to be mindful that as you are deciding, or you are that type that enjoys sex during menstruation, you can easily get pregnant. Also, during this time of the month, that's point number 3. Point number 3, during this time of the month, you need less lubrication. So if you are that type that you have to be lubricated, you go through a lot of stress to get lubricated before sex. During this time of the month, the lubrication level is very high because you need lubricants if you engage in period sex. So the menstrual discharges tend to provide you enough lubrication. You don't need any other lubricants. Even if you need a water-based lubricant, as we have already stated. So during this time of the month, there's less likelihood that you will need lubrication, because the menstrual fluids and discharges lubricates, softens the walls of the vagina and the cervix and the vaginal area. So one does not need to go through a whole lot of stress to get lubricated before he or she, especially she, can get sex or have sex. 4, it might be a pain reliever. Having sex during menstruation period may be a pain reliever. If you experience symptoms such as cramping, feeling of sadness, depression during your menses, we have some people, the moment they start to, or when they are in their menstruation period, they feel depressed, they all of a sudden feel sad, they feel pain, menstrual pains, menstrual cramps. It works for some women that during that time of the month, if they have sex, it releases, or they are relieved of pain. This is because during sex, there is release of endorphins, oxytocin, and dopamine, the happy hormones. You see, when you are sexually aroused, there are hormones that are released into the system, and the dopamine will deal with the dopamine, the oxytocin, and the endorphins, the feel-good hormones. So the feel-good hormones will be released during the sex, and they will also deal with the pain, they will deal with the sadness, they will deal with the cramps. So it is also, it works for some women that during their menstrual periods and they have sex, they are able to be relieved. They tend to be relieved of pains during menstruation. They tend to be relieved of pain during menstruation. Other women too are not like that. There are some women, when they have sex during menstruation, also feel pain. So it's not advisable for them. So if yours is not to, you go through intense pain, you feel uncomfortable during menstruation, anytime you have sex, it's not for you. But you have others, some women that's having sex during menstruation works for them. So as I have already stated earlier on, having sex during menstruation is debatable. Having sex during because whilst it works for other women, it might not work for you. So it's something that you have to just agree with your partner, and you have your way out to deal about it. Point number 5, some women feel very horny. There's likelihood of you being or feeling very horny. You may feel more turned on during your period because of the changes in the hormones. You may feel more horny. It's like the libido and the zeal and the pleasure, desire to have sex becomes very high because of the hormonal changes. And 2, because there is increased blood flow to the area. Because of the blood flow to the area, there is this tingling sensation, there is this arousal that women feel that they want to have sex. And it happens to a lot of women. Some too are not, some also don't experience that, but most women at that time of the month feel they wish to, the desire, the libido increases, and they would wish to have sex during that period of the month. But for some women to at this point of the month, at this particular period of the month, they don't feel, they have decreased libido. Their desire to have sex becomes very low, and they don't even desire to have sex. The pleasure will be gone, will be very down. But if you want to have sex, with them. They are very sensitive during this period of the month, and they feel uncomfortable. So as the bottom line we are trying to talk about here is having sex during that period of the month, during your menstruation period, having sex whilst you are menstruating is very debatable. It's very dicey, but it depends on the partners who will decide and agree. If the partners agree and don't have any issue with that, you are good to go. Thank you for watching. This is GN Studios with Village Doctor. Don't forget to like, comment, and share, and subscribe to this channel for more educative videos. Thank you.